57-43 win.
The Hoisington Lady Cardinals see their season come to an end on Thursday night at Holcomb as they fall to the Holcomb Longhorns by a score of 76-35.
We know it's not going to be any easy test. They're hosting, they're playing on their home court. It's going to be a tough environment, I'm sure. And I think they have two really quick guards that are active defensively. And
yeah, I mean, when you mix the Johnson kid and Cano, I mean, both really good athletes, kids that can shoot. And from watching film, you know, we played them at the end of January. Those are two kids that have definitely improved.
If the guys aren't ready for that one, I don't know who will be. But tough road stretch here. We've just handled business and be focused and locked in. Obviously, we weren't. The other night we went up to Northwest Tech.
I think he had such a good year. There was just so many, like opening weekend, OPSing like 1,700, whatever it was. Right after the home run derby, hitting a home run his first at bat. I think the moment for me was he hit a grand slam against the White Sox in Chicago. Hits a grand slam and then he ends the game with like a diving backhand play at shortstop.
With the girls, we knew it was going to be okay because most of the girls are kind of at the same place. They're learning the sport still. There's a wide open way to go get it if they want it.
Last year, it was really shattering to me to lose that match to go to state. So I really took that to heart and worked on it this summer. And I set a goal to go to state this year, and I've achieved that. So I'm pretty proud of myself.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Day.
Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Steve Webster with you, along with Landon Winkler in the Mayo Money Management Studios, as we get you set for a big weekend of sports. And on the show today, head coach Jeremy Combs, who's also going to be joined by assistant Austin Downing in studio today. So we'll get you ready for Barton's trip to Independence Saturday. Also, Sunflower Sports Solutions, Connor Nickel, talking about sub-state basketball tonight. Oh, yeah, on that game up in Hayes tonight between Great Bend and the Hayes High Indians on the boys' tonight. And Vinny Pasquantino will join Buster Olney on the Baseball Tonight podcast talking about the Royals, why it's important to bring the game to the fans, and his thoughts on ABS. But we'll begin today with our sounds of the past 24 hours or so. And, of course, the news breaking yesterday that Travis Kelce plans to play again next season rather than retire. 35-year-old Kelce had been mulling over whether to return for a 13th season. So he announced it by sending a text to Pat McAfee. That McAfee read during his show on Thursday. Four-time All-Pro wrote, he's coming back for sure. Joe Fortenbaugh saying, yeah, Travis Kelce's good for the NFL. He also said that NFL needs a villain, and the Chiefs are the villain. But they've got to have all their villains in order. So Kelce's going to be back for the villains next year. Gary Wagner, the call last night on Hits 106.9 on his game wrap. Not a good night for the Larned Lady Indians. Fell behind big in the first half, fought all the way back to get the thing tied up, but then Russell putting it away with a big second half. The Russell girls in the Larned girls season, 59-43. I didn't expect that. I thought Larned would win that game. I think I discounted the Mid-Continent League on the girls' side just a little bit with that result. Holcomb rolled past Hoisington 76-35 out in Holcomb. Mike Hesher had the call on 100.7 Eagle Country. And so the Lady Cardinals season comes to an end. Now it's the Larned boys and Hoisington boys who will try to keep their seasons going tonight. They'll both have to do it on the road. Larned boys will be in Holcomb. That's going to be a tough get tonight for the Indians against a Holcomb team at 16-4. Meanwhile, the Hoiston boys play at Southwestern Heights. You heard Kyle Haxton talking about they've got a couple very good guards. This will be a guard-oriented game. Neither team has much size, and we'll see if Hoiston can come back with a victory tonight. So we have Larned basketball on Hits 106.9, 645, and Hoisington basketball at 645 on 100.7 Eagle Country. Kyle Cree talking about a couple of Hayes players that he's seen improvement from this year. Guards Johnny Cano and three-point specialist Tiger Johnson. Johnson hit 5 3-pointers against the Panthers when Great Bend won here on January 31st. They won by 12, but he was a handful, especially in the first half when Hayes led by 3. Great Bend, a big third quarter, got them the win there. So the winner of this game, well, if it's Great Bend, they'll win the WAC outright. If it's Hayes, they'll share the title. Great Bend also needs a win to secure the number 1 seed in 5A West. Oh, and it's the final game ever for between these two teams at the Hayes High Gym. They open a new high school next year. And in the girls' game, Hayes will be looking to finish up a 20-0 season. This is the second game in a row the Lady Panthers have had to face a team that's 19-0. That was Heston on Tuesday night. They were really good, and now they get the 19-0 Hayes High girls tonight. We'll have a doubleheader broadcast for you starting at 5:45 on B104.3 The Point. Jeremy Combs hopes his team has revenge on their minds tomorrow. They'll be in Independence for an afternoon game with the Independence Pirates. Barton's 22-6 overall, and they sit third in the Jayhawk Conference, 16-6. The Pirates 8-14, 12-16 overall. But one of those wins was when Barton had that huge lead back in January, and Independence came back to beat him in overtime. Yeah, Jeremy Combs says he hopes his team has revenge on their minds. They should. Mike Hesher will have the call tomorrow. Cole is out for the games tomorrow, so it'll be Mike Hesher with the pregame at around 1:45 on B104.3 The Point. College basketball last night, Wichita State in action. They lost to UAB at home, 80-72, and KU will play tomorrow at 1 o'clock at home against Texas Tech. You can find that game 2 different places on the Eagle platform. The Jayhawk Network starting at 12:30 on Hits 106.9, and here on KVGB, that'll be the second game of a doubleheader. Clemson will play at Virginia, followed by KU and Texas Tech. Coverage at 10:30 tomorrow morning. Kansas State, they will return to action on Sunday as they'll try to end their 3-game losing streak against the Colorado Buffaloes. Vinny Pasquantino, you'll hear part of this on the Baseball Tonight podcast with Buster Olney coming up here later in the show, as he was asked to remember some of his favorite Bobby Witt Jr. highlights from the 24 campaign. Any other season, Bobby Witt, well, he's MVP. But because Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani also had incredible years, he finished third in the voting. Witt hit .322 last season, 32 homers, 109 RBIs, 31 stolen bases, also banged out 45 doubles and 11 triples. All right, some state wrestling talk for you. Had the Larned girls wrestling team in here on Wednesday, and head coach Matt Sletter talking about his team competing in the 4A tournament today and tomorrow in Salina. And Larned narrowly missed staying in 3-2-1A. The way the break was like 2 students over, so instead of going 3-2-1A, they've got to wrestle in 4A. But Matt Sletter said, no problem, our kids will go out and compete. And a cool story about junior Maya Munden, who just missed making the state field a year ago, and says that near miss motivated her to make state this season, something she did with 4 other Larned girl wrestlers. You can see all of the qualifiers for state tournaments, and of course we have state wrestling coverage going on as well on Hits 106.9, so you can check that out. Wrestling already underway. Great Bend with 7 wrestlers at 5A. Cal Schartz, Hayden Lyles, Tristan Tomlinson, Hayden Kelly, Jay Schartz, Trenton Kern, and Joshua Bustamante. And 6 or 5 Hayes High or Great Bend girls are going. Sophia Bauer, Camden Post, Kiera Leva, Kaylee Baldwin, and Madison Ketch. And again, you can follow along with the state wrestling reports on Hits 106.9 today. All right, coming up, Jeremy Combs is going to be in along with Austin Downing. We'll talk high school basketball with Connor Nickel and our Baseball Tonight podcast. It is Sports Day, the Friday edition here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Eddie.
Papa, what are you getting me off for Valentine's Day?
Well, Hadley, February is the month of love, and nothing shows love like a new garage door.
You're not just saying that because you own the company, are you, Papa?
Well, maybe a little, but honestly, a new garage door can really brighten up the home.
So, what are you getting me off for Valentine's Day?
You go, Hadley.
C&E Doors. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison, Great Bend.
Take your passion for creating magic behind the curtain to new levels with Barton Community College's Technical Theater program. This new program is designed for students to learn how to create breathtaking light shows, run a state-of-the-art soundboard, and build captivating sets. Unleash your creativity and earn an associate's degree to build the skills you need for a career in theater. Now enrolling for the fall semester. Learn more at techtheater.bartoncccc.edu.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
Get the power you need for your farm equipment. The power of peace of mind that dependable Cenex lubricants deliver. With decades of proven off-road performance backed by the industry-leading Cenex Total Protection Plan warranty. Cenex heavy-duty diesel engine oils, hydraulic fluids, gear lubricants, and greases are formulated to provide superior protection for load-bearing equipment. The power you need to keep your business running like a well-oiled machine. Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor.
AgriTalk AM and AgriTalk PM, hosted by Chip Flory, Monday through Friday on your Ag Info Station, 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. It's time to talk Barton Cougar basketball with the head coach, Jeremy Combs, on 1590 KVGB and 95.
Sports Day today brought to you in part by the Marmy Auto Group, 10th Street in Great Bend. Also, the Animal Medical Center in Great Bend. Large or small, they take care of them all. Time to talk Barton men's basketball. Head coach Jeremy Combs is in with us today. Also, assistant Austin Downing gets the call today out of the bullpen. Good to see you, Coach.
You as well. Thanks for having me.
Okay, here we go. Home stretch begins. Let's talk about what happened over the past week. And, of course, we were going to talk about how good Northwest Tech had been playing, or Fort Hays Tech Northwest. Mm-hmm. That's black and gold now instead of – anyway. They went out there and had some guy score 35 points, and they got you last Saturday, Coach.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you what, I'm a little tired of wearing that defending national champion crown that we've been carrying around all year long, because we just get everybody's best, and we went out there, and I don't think we played terrible, but we didn't play great. But they had a kid that stepped up and hit a bunch of shots that was shooting 22% from three and just goes off, and we just didn't have an answer for it, So, but again, we knew that was going to be a tough game, and hats off to them. They came out and punched us in the mouth.
Long season, playing on the road out there. So let's go to the win, Coach Downing. Wednesday coming in, it's sophomore night out there. You get the win over Colby. Got a little scary there late after you had a 17-point lead, but you get the victory. And thoughts on that second half? Things got close, but your team took care of business.
Yes, sir, for sure. I mean, just like Northwest Tech, Colby's well coached. They're a good team that can score it. They play well together. They play hard. And one thing we've struggled with as a team all year is kind of putting people away when we get up. And I think it was just another example of that in the second half on this past game that we just had. And I think that comes down to our focus. I think sometimes we were really dialed in, and then we get up a little bit, and then we kind of think we can take some possessions off and things of that nature. But I think we did just enough to kind of secure the win. And at this point of the year, we told the guys, hey, a win's a win, but obviously we want to look at the negatives from that and try to grow. So.
What happens when you get a lead like that? You say take some possessions off. Is it more on the defensive end, or maybe on the offensive end, taking some bad shots or things like that?
I think it's everything. I think it's as far as sprinting the floor, offensively, defensively, boxing out. Knowing the scouting report when you're mentally tired. I know a lot of times you can get physically tired, and then you start forgetting, like, oh, we shouldn't run out to that guy. He doesn't shoot it too well. Or, hey, maybe we should box this guy out. He leads top of the conference in the rebounding, So we should I think when we just get tired, some of those mental laps happen, and I think it's just about eliminating those as much as possible.
What did Because last year's team was, well, of course, yeah, they lost one game, but it kind of had that killer instinct where you could go ahead and put the foot on the throat and put it away. So do they have that mentality you're talking about?
I think we show spurts of it. I think it's not as consistent as last year's group, but I think that comes down to we were older last year. I think this year we got some young guys who's playing college basketball for the first time, and maybe they got away with some things in high school or prep school or wherever they came from. But I think when you date back to last year, that was an experienced group. Rather, they had been playing 2 years or had a guy sit a year out or whatever it may be. So I think that that maturity and experience piece plays a big part in that.
Independence coming up on tomorrow. Yeah, it's got tomorrow afternoon already, Gase. We're here. You're talking to Cole on a post-game show, Jeremy, about, if these guys don't want this game, then I don't know what's wrong, because they deserve a payback down there at Indy coming up tomorrow.
Absolutely. I've clipped a couple things and screenshotted a few things, and it's in the locker room now, and so again, if they're not motivated to go win this game, then there's something wrong with them. But I thought about not doing a scout on them and just saying, hey, let's go, and because there should be enough motivation, but I went against that and decided to go ahead and put the scout together. But again, yeah, the motivation should be there, and they should be fired up.
Okay, this starts your 2-game stretch, Austin. So are you the geography specialist on the team that explain to these guys, where they're going and what the trip's going to be like?
I think, we've said it, but I mean, at the end of the day, we've got a couple guys who've been there and kind of know where we're going into, I should say. So, like Coach said, I mean, just what's happening with us against this team last time, if that's not enough motivation for our guys for this trip, no matter how long or short the trip is, then, like he said, there's something wrong with them. But I'm not no geography specialist at all.
You're more northeast guy, right?
Yes,
central northeast. Okay, so where's this team at, Austin, you think? I mean, you get to the end like this, you can see the end, postseason's coming up, but you're not done with the regular season yet. So, where's this team at? It's a long season.
Yeah, it is. I think we know there's a lot at stake right now with what we want to do the rest of the season. So I think just taking it one day at a time and seeing what the future brings is going to be the biggest thing for us right now. Just try to eliminate all the distractions, or, hey, this game is bigger than this game. I think we got to treat every game the same and just kind of see where we end up afterwards.
Okay. Jeremy, talk about yours. I mean, this is cool relationship between you two guys, and I know that you trust him a lot, and you have a nice assistant coach with you.
Yeah, it makes life a lot easier.
It does. Talk about this relationship and how long it's gone on now.
Well, I had a coach, Jerry Jones, up at Kansas Wesleyan. He said I was one of the smartest guys that he ever met because I married my wife, and I think I'm up there too, because if you look over my 23 years of being a head basketball coach, I'd like to know how many times there wasn't a downing involved in those years. And obviously, when you surround yourself with them, great things happen. But Austin's just one of the best assistants in the country, without a doubt. And I have no doubt about that when I say that. And he just makes life a lot easier for us. And just everything that he brings to the table. His player development is off the charts. And then of course, playing for me, he knows exactly what I expect, and he's able to relay that to the players.
Austin, has he mellowed out at all?
I like to say, I tell him a lot of time, I think he's gotten softer over the days, but I mean, with this year's team, we've seen some of it, so I've been happy to see that a little bit, but no, Coach has been nothing but great to my family and I, and we're very appreciative of him, and that's from the top to bottom. Like he said, we've always had a downing involved with him. I think there's only 2 that he didn't get to coach, and so he'll always be a part of our family for forever. So.
Pretty good bloodline to get into, right?
Well, like I said, I'm a pretty smart guy,
How old are you now, Austin?
I'm 27.
Okay, so you're entering that kind of, and where you start thinking, okay, I'm really valuable here. You're a great assistant. I'm sure Jeremy wants you to stay around as long as ever. But, what goes into that next step, because obviously, head coaching is probably going to be in your future.
I mean, obviously that's a goal, but I think, I have enough support around me that, when it's time, it'll be time. I think we'll know. I think Coach will give me some good advice on certain things. And I think with knowing all of that, knowing he's been in coaching for 20-something years, I think I'm probably be smart if I take his advice on a lot of the different options. And so we'll cross that path whenever it gets here. But, like I said earlier, we're just going to continue to chip away with this year's team and see what the rest of the year brings. So
I would think, Jeremy, and kind of talk about what he's going through right now, because you see some, assistants maybe jump at a job that's not an ideal situation and it doesn't work out so well. So is that kind of what you look at when you look at the possibility or options for, a young assistant coach to get a head coaching job somewhere?
Yeah, so I think, when you look at a family, you always want it better for your kids. And I look at that in the same way. I had to take a path where, none of my coaches were still coaching. I didn't have a lot of people that were going to make phone calls for me. So I took the Neosho job, kind of gambled on myself and tried to see if I could get it going there. And, even though that was a hard job, it was an opportunity the path that I took. And so now that I'm at Barton, the assistant job is better at Barton, obviously, than it was at Neosho. And so I'm just continuously moving these guys up. And yes, I want him to take, a Seward County, a Garden City, something like that, that's going to be a really good job for him versus going somewhere where he's going to have to struggle a little bit and doesn't have all the resources. Because obviously, we did a good job at Neosho, but having resources is just what takes you over the top.
What do you think about coaching against Coach here?
But I would tell you that would be very it'd be weird. I'll tell you that. But I think an advantage we'd have is I kind of know what he's saying in his locker room before the game, so I try to play some mind games with our guys. But no, I think that would obviously be very cool if it ever were to happen. But until then, I'm gonna just continue to learn from him, and as he's continuing to pour into me, and then we'll just see what happens.
Okay, well, I'll leave you with what I usually leave Coach with before going into final 2 games of the season. What are your thoughts right now?
Win. That's my thought right now is just win and, just live to see another day. So we want to get back to Hutch, but we know that only happens if we take care of the games before that.
Okay. You got anything to add?
Well, I'll tell you what, this team's, we are special, and I don't think we're hitting on all cylinders right now, but you look around the country, we had this team could win national. We could go back-to-back. There's no doubt about it, but we could also get knocked out in the first round. So, like he said, we just got to go one game at a time and just really focus and finish this thing out.
Guys, thanks for coming in today. Barton Cougar Talk here today. Jeremy Combs, Austin Downing here with us on Sports Day. We'll be back with more right after this.
Comes to car maintenance is good.
Sports Day today.
We can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec.
Sports, leisure, fitness, and wellness, even senior and adaptive needs. It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend. Or check out the website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore at the rec.
It's all here at Great Bend Rec. Live, play, explore at the rec.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington. What's going on in high school sports? Well, let's ask him. Sports Day is proud to welcome in Sunflower Sports Solutions' Connor Nickel.
Connor Nickel with us on Friday. Show brought to you in part by Eller Automotive Repair, where they specialize in wheel alignments, oil changes, general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Also, Freedom Claims Management. Innovative healthcare plans for your business. Let them take care of everything for you from start to finish, and continued support. They have you covered. Welcome to Sub-State time, Connor Nickel. I know you've been involved with it, and here we go. Postseason one-and-done time now for high school teams.
Yeah, I wanted to give a brief shout-out to my team. We won on Monday. We have a big road game tomorrow. And our lone senior, Avery Winholtz, Victoria's all-time leading rebounder. On Monday night, 22 points, 20 rebounds, 10 steals. What a game.
Yeah, you go 22-20. I guess that draws some sports day accolades. I concur completely. Okay, Ellenwood girls play tonight. They start their run in Class 2A, and you said you've been getting a lot of questions. There's a lot of Ellenwood talk out there right now.
There is. I don't know if there's been one team, and there really hasn't been, who's had more just opinions, conversation than what the Ellenwood girls have done. I had a coach who they could likely play in Sub-State here reach out to me yesterday with a variety of questions. I had another coach reach out to me last week. First of all, there's just so many differing opinions on them, and there's just a lot of questions. The first question is, wow, they're a lot better this year. The second question is, wait a second, their best player, or their top scorer, has been out. And, of course, the question that everyone asking is, wow, they shoot a lot of three-pointers. How do you guard this? And that 2A Sub-State is incredibly fascinating. You know, Ellenwood should have no trouble tonight against a Hill City team that won for the first time in basically 2 years. But that Sub-State with Ellenwood and Peaburg, you know, Peaburg, of course, won the MCL regular season title, and that's really, really hard this year with so many good teams. So a lot of interesting questions on, okay, how do you guard the three? Do you guard everybody? Because their best shooter is the Jacobs girl who comes off the bench normally. So they just have a lot of matchup issues that, frankly, you don't see with other teams. The amount of threes they take, again, bringing their best shooter off the bench, and very much, and I've said this in a very praiseworthy way to Ellenwood, they play a very NBA style, where it's just, you know, drive, kick, shoot the ball a lot, attack. And obviously they're doing it with no seniors, and you're running into some MCL teams that, you know, the MCL is not that heavy on three-pointers. The MCL is very, very much more half-court sets, run your stuff, be efficient, and lower possession type of games, while the CPL is more higher possession type of games, and generally with some teams more threes.
And we'll get it fine. I guess if they both get there, we can talk about this game next week, because the championship game for that Sublette Sub-State would be coming up on Saturday. So we'll watch possibly a collision between Ellenwood and Sub-State matchups do you see coming up?
Yeah, certainly. So I think that another one is the one-on-one in Rollins County for sure. I mean, you've got a number of teams, lacrosse, very much in the crosshairs. They will play Osborne tomorrow night. That should be as good of a Sub-State semifinal game, I think, in any class. I am really high on lacrosse this year. I've said this for a while. Madison Morgan is a consensus All-State player. This is the most wins for lacrosse in quite some time. Osborne's a really good team as well. They're 16-5. And this should be a heck of a matchup. The major thing is Osborne has Grace William inside. She's committed to Bethel for tennis and basketball. A 6-footer, very strong player. Lacrosse is coached very, very well. This should be an outstanding down to the wire type of game. And then the winner will get Quinter in in a matchup that I feel like both of those teams feel like they match up pretty well. Cross played Quinter in the Jamboree, and Osborne plays a very similar style to Quinter, and Osborne will have the advantage at least two positions. And so, again, I think that is a sub-state where all three teams, and you throw in a good Greeley County team. I mean, Greeley County went to state in volleyball for the first time in school history. Jaden Stewart is a tremendous player. Jaden Mangan is really good too. They beat a solid Ellis team on Monday. You've got four teams right there that all really believe, hey, we can make it to a state.
Okay, I want to talk about 1A boys at the Kiowa sub-state on Monday. Maxville takes on Kiowa County. What do you think about this matchup on Monday?
Certainly. I am really high on Maxville. I think that they are a really, obviously, an incredible offensive team. Maxville is one of those teams where, at times this year, they've been a little defense optional. We've seen that happen. I mean, just with the amount of points they've allowed some games. If Maxville can be average defensively, the amount of points they score, they can really make a deep run, especially in these one-and-done scenarios. You're playing, obviously, at the Kinsley Dome. I believe because Maxwell is not the host. So I think it's going to be a great atmosphere for a game. I think Kiowa has put together a really nice season. Matt Hoffman is a really good coach. Talked to some people about their team way back in November, and he felt like if they were going to be a really good basketball team, and they have been. They put up 60 points a game in game two. Maxville's put up 60 plus, 70 plus in a lot of games. Scores are relatively the same, and most notably the Spearville game in terms of margin of victory or loss. Kiowa lost to South Gray by 10. Obviously, Maxville owns the win over South Gray. So, again, Monday at 7 p.m., they're at the Kinsley Dome, and what is a home game for Maxville. Should be a rollicking place, and it could be first 1 to 75 in that contest.
Okay, what are the odds that Central Plains meets La Crosse for the Sub-State Championship in Colby next Saturday? Central Plains takes on Ellis on Monday night, and La Crosse has to travel out to Tribune and take on Greeley County.
Yeah, I think so. So, actually, we had a conversation with some people about this earlier in the week, too. So, of course, Greeley County's best player is the Schaefer boy, Lincoln Schaefer, who, of course, is now a junior. 2 years ago, of course, at Martin County, he was the boy who hit the last-second shot to upset Hanover to win the state title. I believe Schaefer will be one of those kids who's going to be in high school for like 8 years. Just because he's been around for so long, and he is a tremendous shooter. Greeley County knew last year they were going to take a really sizable bet after losing Jackson Brandel, and then this year they've kind of built it back up. I think that, honestly, Cross wins tonight, or Monday, I should say. The Hall-Parrick boys shoots it so well. La Crosse is just continuing to put pressure on the teams with their defense. But I think that La Crosse makes a very long trip to Mountain Time Zone and gets a win. Ellis boys, scary. I mean, CP should win this game, but I don't think this is going to be a comfortable win. Caleb Noble Hyatt inside for Ellis. He's overcome some injuries. He actually switched sports. He was a wrestler earlier in his career. Had a nice season on the inside. They shoot the ball very, very well. Nolan Smith took this team over when they were rock bottom, and the first year was going to be really rough. I think they won 2 or 3 games. That was the year when the Ellenwood boys beat them like 65-9, and he's just steadily built this. And he's done a nice job. He's a great personality. They needed somebody with some charisma to come in and kind of fill this gaping hole. And he's done a great job with that. I think that Ellis scares Central Plains, but in the end, Central Plains has just too much. They've got too much talent, and the Styles boy, my goodness. I mean, obviously, incredible bloodlines. Jackie Styles at camp last summer, and she brought out her nephew, and she goes, I'm paraphrasing here, she goes, this is my nephew 2 years ago. He averaged 6 points a game. He went to all of my camps as a counselor last summer, and last year he averaged like 10 points a game more. I mean, he is as pure of a shooter as I've seen this year.
Okay, and then there's this little game in Hayes tonight.
Yes. I mean, what a night, and what about the next 70 to 72 hours for basketball?
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the boys' game tonight.
Yeah, and so, I'm going to take this tactic here. What if Hayes loses, or if Great Bend loses, who does a loss affect more?
I would certainly say Hayes or Great Bend, because that would be 2 in a row going into 5A sub-state next week.
Bingo. Exactly right. And that's why that I think Great Bend wins this game. Is because Hayes has said, okay, we got the huge win against the McPherson, but which team is a loss more damaging to? And yes, if Great Bend loses, I think they still share the WAC title. But in the end, I think that Great Bend, for their talent, for who they have, this is a game where if Great Bend were to lose, I think it would be a little bit more damaging than if Hayes were to lose. This should be a tremendous contest. And if Hayes plays like they did against Mac, I mean, Hayes High can definitely win this game. I mean, there's no question. But I think in the end, I would give Great Bend +4 tonight. But this is going to be an incredible atmosphere. I mean, the layers to this game, a WAC title, Hayes High, Great Bend, the last regular season home game in that gym, Hayes High boys playing better, Dawson Reuter, Tiger Johnson, big games against Mac. This a lot of seniors on both sides. Obviously, the girls' game is going to go very likely a certain way, and Hayes High girls completing this incredible season. There's going to be a lot of juice tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be hopping tonight. Have the Hayes girls ever gone 20-0 in the regular season?
I don't. I know it has not happened since at least 82-83. I know that there were some questions, and when they got to 16-15-0 range, some people were lucky, and of course, Dustin Armbruster found it. And so, to my knowledge, no, but I can say definitely not since 82-83.
Are you going to be there tonight?
I am. I am going to be there. I am going to be there hopefully second half of the girls' game is the plan.
Okay, so we're just making this date up right now. So it's senior night. So like we did a couple years ago, why don't you stop by between games?
I think that would be a great thing.
Okay, we'll talk more about high school basketball tonight. There's wrestling going on as well. So I will see you tonight between games on B104.3 The Point. How about that?
Awesome, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Okay, Connor Nickel. Yeah, you can get more of him tonight at halftime between games, between the boys and girls tonight, because it is senior night. We'll have a little bit of time in there that I can talk to Connor about some other things, other games going on, and more on tonight's Great Bend Hayes High game. Sports Day coming up. Yeah, we're going to have a little baseball talk for you here on a Friday. Vinny Pasquantino with Buster Olney.
Jumpstart your education with Barton Online. You can pick up a class or earn an associate degree for less than half the cost of a university. We are always enrolling. Start when it works for you. Choose from 5 sessions throughout the semester, including 16, 8, and 4-week options. Save big on the way toward your career or tackle your gen eds with our low-cost pathway. Visit online.bartoncccc.edu and enroll today.
Hey,
If you're needing a healthcare plan for your business, let the experienced and dedicated staff at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your business's need. Regardless if you're a large corporation or a small business on Main Street, Freedom Claims Management Incorporated can help you provide your employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. Visit freedomclaimsinc.com where you can schedule a free, no obligation health assessment today. Freedom Claims Management Incorporated in Great Bend.
Central and Western Kansas residents, are you looking for a new vehicle? Marmy Auto Group can make it happen. Marmy Auto Group includes Ford, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep and Ram, Chevrolet, and GMC. Marmy Auto Group, your Central and Western Kansas dealer, has new and pre-owned vehicles, or we can special order your vehicle today. If your existing vehicle needs serviced, Marmy's award-winning service department can help. Come to Marmy Auto Group on 10th or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Yeah, and some other great sponsors. C&E Doors, your full-service garage door company. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison in the American Plains Co-op Bulk Fuel Department. Featuring number 2 Clear Diesel, bulk fuel, E10 fuel delivery, and all your lubricants and fuel supplies. As promised, Vinny Pasquantino on the Baseball Tonight podcast with one Buster Olney.
Vinny Pasquantino is the first baseman for the Kansas City Royals. Last year, he drove in 97 runs in 131 games, and he's ranked among our top 10 first basemen. Vinny, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm better now that you just told me that information.
Well, I know top 10 rankings have been kind of a sore spot for the Royals during this offseason. I'm going to get to that in a moment. The reaction among your text group after Bobby Witt Jr. was ranked as the 4th best shortstop. I promise you, he's not 4th best in our list, okay?
Well, the best part about that was that he was a 4th best shortstop, but the 3rd best player. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but, it is what it is. Rankings are rankings, so let me think of a good spring training cliche. We don't care about the projections, and we're here to surprise some people. That's what Bob would say.
There you go. So tell me, what was it like when you guys all saw that? I mean, having witnessed what he did last year. I mean, let's face it, you had Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani have historic seasons. Otherwise, the idiots like me are talking about Bobby all year as having one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen.
Yeah, well, first off, if you were talking about him having one of the greatest seasons ever, you're not an idiot. I would consider you to be smart. But, yeah, I don't really think there was a whole lot of, too much of a private reaction. I think more of the reaction was public because it's just like, it doesn't matter. What is a ranking going to tell us about him? It was basically like a who cares moment, and it was fun to, take some jabs at people on social media. But other than that, I think it was more so like, okay, now you really know not to trust these things. So yeah, I think it's just and great. Maybe it gives them some extra motivation to go finish first for the MVP this year. That'd be great for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned about social media. You love doing that. Tell me about what's your thought process behind it. Some players are shy about it, but you're not.
I think I look at us as athletes in maybe a different light as some people. I try to look at us as more so entertainers. Now we are competing, and it is sports. I'm doing everything I can to win every single night. But just trying to drive some fan engagement into it, of trying to build the sport, so to speak. Because I've always kind of taken the approach of you want to leave something better than you found it, and I've always thought that the more people we could bring in, if I can help be a part of that, then I've left the game in a better spot than I found it. So I just think it's important to be able to connect to fans. I understand why guys don't do it, because we play every day. We're out in front of people every single day. If I start talking and then I go 0 for 20, I'm opening myself up to a lot of scrutiny, because it's like, oh, are you working hard enough? Are you doing what you need to do to go perform every night? And the answer is yes. But I get why that would be out there, because there's just not a whole lot of players that are willing to. And rightfully so, willing to do that, because it's a game of failure. Everybody says that growing up, and it's true. And when you talk more, you leave yourself open for people to take shots. So,
I never thought of it that way. In the years that I've covered baseball, when a team needs something or somebody needs to speak up, that sort of thing, and there's an injured veteran on the team who otherwise would be in the middle of it, that those players have said to me, it's not the right time for me to say something. Like, there are times to say something, and times to talk and times not to talk. And I guess it's the same way with social media.
Yeah, I would agree. That's why I always try to lean positive on social media, because if you get on me for being positive, then am I the prick or are you? So it's just one of those things where it's just fun. Like, that's really the only reason I do it, is because I have a good time with it. I'm not trying to be somebody who I'm not. I talk a lot in general. It's not like in the locker room I'm super quiet and then I get online and start talking a lot. I am who I am, and I'm not scared to be me. So I have opinions on things. I don't think they're always correct. I don't think they're always super smart. I just, I have an opinion on something and I'll say it for better or for worse. And I try to be respectful and have a good time with it.
Remember the first time hearing about you, I was in a conversation with Dayton Moore, and he was complimenting your command of the strike zone as a hitter, and understanding of a strike zone as a hitter. As you know, they're going to use ABS in experimental mode this spring, a challenge system to each. First off, how do you feel about that?
I'm trying not to be like a super old guy about it, like in the game of being like, I don't want change. I've just never used it before, so I have no idea. So everything I've heard from hitters, at least, they seem to like it because there's consistency. So, that's all we really ask for as players, is just, be consistent. And growing up, it was always, the umpire's calling the away pitch today, so be ready for it. And I feel like that's kind of been lost in our game, just because we're always striving for perfection, and they do put the box on the TV screen. The box is not always correct, which is funny when a pitch looks like it's, way away or something, and then we get our internal reports and it'll be a strike. So I think I've always gone back and forth with this with umpires. It's like, they're not trying to mess up calls, and there is something beautiful to me about the human element of the game, but I totally get why we're, kind of moving away from that in a way. And I think the ABS challenge system is a good way to do it, at least to start, because the umpire is still controlling it, and if I believe he missed it, I have the opportunity to challenge that call through a consistent strike zone. So, they've showed us data where on a 3-0 count, the zone increases massively versus if it's 0-2, the zone decreases massively. So, is that necessarily fair? I don't know. So I'll be interested to see what it looks like in spring training. And I know guys are hesitant with the pitch clock, but I think almost universally everybody can agree that the pitch clock is one of the best things that ever happened to baseball, from a viewer's perspective as well. So I think the shift's been good. I think the rule changes that they've made have been good. So I'm excited to try something. Now, I hope we get to a point where we're not changing rules every single year, and we let the game kind of play out. But I'm excited for the opportunity to try something different. So.
I think, too, that, at the beginning of the challenge system, having conversations with umpires, they were kind of wincing about it and they didn't like it. I think now they like it because, that way, if there's an egregious mistake, an unfortunate mistake, Jim Joyce, with Galarraga's perfect game, that can be fixed and corrected, and they don't wind up being made famous on SportsCenter. And I think that that's going to be the case, too, with the challenge system. I don't think it's going to be, after a while, it's not going to be that big of a deal. But it's going to be interesting. I had a conversation with someone in Major League Baseball yesterday about the change in the dialogue that this is going to create between the hitter, the pitcher, the catcher, and the benches with the umpires, right? Because if there's a close call in the past, there's been so much, there might be chirping from the dugout. And I think the umpires are going to be like, look, you going to challenge?
Yeah. I'm curious how that dialogue will go, because there's always back and forth, and it's, if I miss a call, or if say he calls a ball, or if he calls a strike, I challenge it, and then it's a ball, do we now have some weird tension? Or if he calls a strike, I challenge it, and it ends up being a strike, does he look at me like, see, told you? It will be interesting to see how the human relationship piece of that goes, because it's like, no, you missed that call, I'm going to challenge it. Oh wait, I'm wrong. Like, do I apologize? I'm curious what's going to happen with that. Like, I wonder if it might lead to some more arguing. Maybe it'll be interesting to see. So the strike zone is one of the most, like, we play such a funny game. We're striving for perfection all the time with it, but we play a game that's quite literally imperfect, and it's beautiful because of that. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm interested to try it because I think it'll be. I think it could be something good that happens if we can figure out what the strike zone is. I think that's the biggest challenge guys are wondering is, I think we learned it's the middle of the plate or somewhere. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to try it out.
Yeah, and there's so many elements to this with the strategy. From what I hear in the minor leagues, the managers essentially gave guidelines to the players like, do not challenge this on a strike one in the first inning, right? Save those challenges. And between players, is there, teammates, is there something like, dude, what are you doing using that challenge early in the game? Save it for later. And so much of the dialogue between the dugouts and the umpires in recent years has been, players will, not be happy about a call, go back to the dugout. Somebody will look at an iPad, and then, the feedback comes from the dugout. Now the umpires can look and say, hey, you didn't challenge it. You could have challenged it.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some players that are banned from challenging from a team perspective because there's definitely some guys that think they know the zone more than others. I think veteran status will like if Salvi wants to challenge, you go right ahead. You go right ahead and do that. I would imagine pitchers are going to get banned from making challenges because they think everything is a strike. So, but there's definitely going to be some internal fine systems that happen within teams of if you mess up the challenges for the team, you got to pay some sort of fine. So it'll be like from player to player, not organization down, but
the kangaroo court. Someone burns a challenge, unnecessarily,
especially early in the game, right? Or if so it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see. I'm glad we're doing it in spring training to start. I think we're one of the highest percentage of like a team that uses it. I think it's like 29 of our 30 games, something like that. We're using it. So, I'm excited for it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm fascinated when that was brought up yesterday by the forthcoming dialogue that's going to happen between the two sides. I mentioned Bobby Witt Jr. and what he did last year. Well, give me a moment last year where you're like, holy crap.
I think he had such a good year. There was just so many, like opening weekend, hitting multiple home. Like I think it was opening week, like OPSing like 1,700, whatever it was. Right after the home run derby, hitting a home run his first at bat. I think the moment for me was he hit a grand slam against the White Sox in Chicago. I think it was a grand slam, but hits a grand slam and then he ends the game with like a diving backhand play at shortstop, and it's like, okay, he just quite literally called game all on his own. He made that, and I get a front row seat to it hitting behind him. So, doing things like extending doubles into triples on ground balls to left, like directly to left field. Some of it's very strange in that way where it's like, how? I couldn't even like think about doing some of the things that he just does. It's just incredible to see that every day. And to see how much the Royals invested into him, which looks to be a great deal. It's just incredible to see it on a day in, day out basis.
Not surprisingly, he's going to be on our top 10 list.
I hope so. I hope he's on your top 3 list. I hope he's on the top 2
He's
list.
number 1 on the top 10 list. So one thing that I was interesting when I did the top 10 first baseman thing, and I want to get your opinion on this. Something really jumped out at me, this incredible coincidence as I'm going down. Freddie Freeman, okay, he's the number 1 first baseman, right-handed thrower. Bryce Harper, right-handed thrower. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., right-handed thrower. Matt Olson. In fact, I think you're the only guy who's a left-handed thrower in the top 10. And I followed that up with I reached out to Sarah Langs and said, is this like a thing? Is this a trend? Because I grew up with, a great throwing left-handed first baseman, the Keith Hernandez and JT Snow, now Anthony Rizzo, and how beautifully he plays the position. And it feels like, and the numbers actually back it up, that the number of left-handed throwing first basemen has dropped by 50% since Moneyball. You have any theories? Because go ahead.
I think that's a great way to start that is talk about Moneyball. It's all value, and we know that as players, even though as much as you don't want to think about value as a player, like it's there. You talk about Harper, he's a converted outfielder. Vlad Jr. played third, I believe, coming up. Yep. I think Freddie has played some third base at least. So you talk about versatility, and just as a lefty, you don't have that. There's 4 positions I can play on a field as a left-handed player. I mean, obviously I could play other positions, but that will never happen. So, you can play first base, right field, center field, left field as a left-handed thrower. So you're already cut in half, basically, of what you can play as a right-handed player. So teams now are looking for more versatility in players, more athleticism, and that's just going to slim the pickings, so to speak, of who can play where. So if you've got a guy who can go over and play some first base, and then they end up doing it at a high level, it just works out for everybody because they can always move around. Whereas, I can't really. The only other place I could go would be DH. So there's just less versatility there, less value, so to speak. So I'm going to try to hold it down for the left-handers playing first, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, but I'm trying to think around the league. It's really, you talk about Nate Lowe, you got Christian Walker, Harper, Vlad, Freddie,
right?
Ty France, Goldschmidt. They're all right-handed. Geez, they all are.
Alonso. Right, yeah, that's what I mean. It was shocking to look at the list.
Torkelson. That's insane. So, who is left-handed? I'm mind blown, actually. I'm mind blown by that. I haven't even thought about this. So you got me, Nolan Shonwell is right-handed.
Anthony Rizzo.
Right. Rizzo. Let's get Rizzo a job, huh? Let's get that guy a job.
Exactly.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, I got to do something then. I got to do something this year for all the left-handers out there.
I want to hear more feedback from you because I've reached out to a bunch of people in baseball, and they're like, there's no overall, overriding strategy that's created that. And I'm like, there has to be to see the numbers drop the way they have.
I think it's simply the versatility. Even though all those guys pretty much only play first base, I think it's you move them over there, they end up, they're all impact bats. And bat, if you hit, you're going to be in the lineup. So I think, for Harper, I believe it was for his arm. It was more of a health thing,
right.
That's off the arm. And then I think it's just one of those things. So I don't know, but hopefully there's some more pure first basemen coming up. Just first base only, bigger guys that move around good and can play the position.
All right, last one. You guys shocked the baseball world last year with how you did. How different is the feeling this year going into camp compared to last year?
I would say incrementally different, and the only difference is just that years past we always heard, we brought in this veteran because of playoff experience and because they've been there and they've done it, and now it's kind of us. We've been there. We've been in the playoffs. We've won a series. We've been to tough environments. We've done that, so to speak. Obviously, we haven't won it all, but we got pretty close last year, in my opinion. And we were right on that doorstep, and we were excited for that challenge, and now we've experienced that, and there's just a better understanding of what that looks like now as a team, and I would say that's really the only difference. There's still always that normal excitement of spring, but I think it's more of a professional environment of the fact that, last year, we shocked the outside, so to speak. We didn't shock ourselves, but we shocked the outside. And this year, we're not sneaking up on anybody, and we know that. So we're just kind of getting ready to go.
Vinny, thanks for doing this. Always fun to talk with you.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Okay, there you go. Vinny Pasquantino, the Kansas City Royals with Buster Olney on Baseball Tonight podcast. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll take a break, be back and wrap up the Friday show right after this.
Seeing doors, this is Eddie.
Papa, what do you think you mean off Valentine's Day?
Well, Hadley, February is the month of love, and nothing shows love like a new garage door.
You're not just saying that because you own the company, are you, Papa?
Well, maybe a little, but honestly, a new garage door can really brighten up the home.
So, what are you getting me off of Valentine's Day?
You go, Hadley.
C&E Doors. Follow the orange sign south of 10th and Harrison, Great Bend.
Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, and today we want to give a shout out to all the supporting cast at these basketball games. We have some great young men and young women on the court, but we also have some great young men and women playing their instruments, cheering, dancing, all those things. Let's clap for them. When they perform and get done, let's show them a round of applause, show them some love as well, because they deserve it. Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, large or small, we take care of them all.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
For the past 13 years, Sports Day has been the show devoted to local sports and local athletes. And it's all brought to you by Barton Community College and the Cougar
Equity Bank in Great Bend, Hoiston, and Larned. You can see the locations tab at equitybank.com. Okay, high school basketball tonight. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Can't wait. Great Bend, Hayes High at Hayes High School. Last meeting ever at the Hayes High gym, and it's going to be packed. Yeah, people are going to be crammed in there. We'll start our coverage 5:45 on B104.3 The Point. Hoiston Cardinals, they're at Southwestern Heights tonight. You can hear that game on 100.7 Eagle Country with Mike Hesher on the call. 6:45 on that, and the Larned Indians will be in Holcomb tonight, so you can catch that action on Hits 106.9. Garrett Wellbrock will have the play-by-play tonight for that game, 6:45 on Hits. It's going to wrap it up this weekend. Enjoy all your sub-state basketball, state wrestling. Yeah, it's all taking place, and we'll talk about it on Monday here on Sports Day on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town.